Okay, good morning. Happy Friday. Well, we never got to that 50 MA yesterday. I thought it was pretty good odds, but buyers showed up immediately down at that pivot low on SPY there, of course, SPX. And one of my thoughts was a little later on, after not getting a retest to go down there, was, geez, institutions waited for it to get down here and over here and over here. And it's certainly okay that it punched through it a bit before the turn. So my thought was there's a little bit of complacency going on here, in this market, to be that much more aggressive after the drop. And I don't know, it's just a thought that comes to mind when you see something that's changed in, how they typically, look for an area to buy. Now, that was the support area. As mentioned yesterday, there's nothing to the left here. Nonetheless, it's a widely followed moving average. So it ran up here. It didn't get very far into the red bar. So from this particular time frame, we look at, okay, it was a gap down, got bought. How far was it able to retrace into the prior bar? What was the prior bar? In this case, a relatively large red bar. There was an attempt to go up that failed, and it couldn't even close, let's just call it not even more than 25% into it. So this type of a pattern is one in which I suspect if prices are going to go back up, they're not going to go up significantly today. I don't think so. Anyway, it's certainly not the kind of pattern that we're interested in for a swing trade, because this was a new high failure. The gap down, the follow through, yeah, it's a deep retracement to major support, the low prior to the higher high, which puts the trend in question. We still say it's in an uptrend, but it's in question. And so now what we really want to see is at least 1 or 2 days of building support down here. Because you can see the hourly is still in a downtrend. So even if it is able to pop up, it's going to hit a whole bunch of overhead resistance here where there's going to be sellers. You can't just say everybody is, complacent or willing to jump on board, even though, as we just reviewed yesterday, it's down 3%, and 3%'s kind of been like, okay, jump on board. And they did it again. But historically, this type of a pattern, the angle of retracement, the depth of retracement, all of that, historically, to get a good buy setup within the uptrend in that situation, you get an extra day or two of consolidation here. So it's the monthly options expiration that may get things, jiggling around a bit. Looking at the option tables and all of that huge open interest that was, let me go to SPX here. You can see this is popping up here a little bit, 440. It's kind of like flat this morning. But, SPX, all of that huge open interest that was up here and at 4,400 looks like it's shifted to the next month, which kind of leaves us like, okay, what now? For this month, then I suspect maybe things might get just stuck around here. And just based on the patterns, that's exactly what we want to see, whether it's going to go up or down. So from the bullish point of view, we'd like to see a day here. And if it breaks the low, it springs back up. It could be an inside day, whatever it jiggles around here, building a larger support level in intraday. And then we see if it can make an attempt, whatever's going to happen next week. In addition, this type of pattern pulls back based on depth of retracement, where it came to, angle of retracement, all of that. Depending on what happens today, it could set up what we call a measured move. And that kind of lines up with the thought of, hey, we're into the end of August. We're going into the worst month of September, correction and so on, could set up a measured move lower. So Going in today, it's, I'd say, a neutral type of a day, within an uptrend here. It's reached an obvious destination so far. That could be in the cards that it gets down to the 50 today. As mentioned, right now, things are just flat. So just see which way it goes. At the end of the day, we will see what this weekly chart looks like. Really not a big deal to get a red bar within an uptrend. Not at all. It could be a sideways consolidation. So let's look at some of the others. Now the Qs, on the other hand, let me drag this down here. Also held in the area of the prior pivot low. But what we've got now here, let's get this little spotlight out here, is a rounding top. So uptrend, pivot high, pull back, higher high, lower high. And you could say, well, isn't maybe a head and shoulders top? I guess kind of. Maybe the textbook, you get the head part a little bit higher, but nonetheless, it's a rounding top because that's higher, that's lower. And let's call that a neckline area. And we'll see how this jiggles around here. It's coming up here to 365. And so up near the high of, yesterday's bar, plenty of overhead resistance there, the 20 MA. So we just might be, ping-ponging back and forth through here today. And that's what the pattern would suggest, is that after a move down like this into an area of support, you got the gap reversal, which is, okay, buyers took control in a relatively obvious area there. Didn't get to the 50, so they're aggressive. And I think they need a little bit more backing and filling here to really get this to be a higher probability long type of pattern, other than we're not really talking about intraday bounces like this. Right? That happens almost in any given day. We're talking about something more significant that could attack this area up here. Someone asked me a question. Good morning, Brownie. I want to buy the course of swing trading, but I can't find a coupon for the discount because there is no coupon for the discount at this time, Brownie. I think there was. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at the old emails. We had some special. Maybe Dan could refresh my memory a little later. But I think we had some special with the directional course. But we can email me, Brownie. This is really not the time for it. So email me, greg@mastertrader.com, and we'll figure this out. So I think just based on patterns here, kind of a running in place type of a day. And, where is this? 365, 365, into this mess to the left, moving down to, the 15-minute chart. So what would I look for from the long side? All right. So I've got a little bit of a void here. So I'm into thinking day trading mode here. Gapping up into this resistance area. Well, I'm not going to do anything if it takes out a 5-minute high, because that could just be a sucker play, with this resistance right here. But if it can jiggle around there, a lot of times we talk 30-minute highs, but sometimes it's 15 or 20 minutes. So within that 15 or 20 minutes, what I would look for is maybe something not exactly like this where it went down, but let's just say this type of a pattern where it tries to move down and forms a bottoming tail bar and comes back up. I call more of a hook type of a pattern where you've got a strong move and it comes in and, like a fishing hook type of thing with let's just call it a lower barb or something down here, that bottoming tail bar. So there's been a little shakeout. So some type of bullish pattern there that might take it up to this area, which really wouldn't do a whole heck of a lot, as far as the daily charts, and so all that resistance is there. But, since I'm not looking for anything significant from a swing trading perspective over here, it doesn't mean I wouldn't consider something from a day trading perspective. That being said, the S&Ps might be the better choice. They came down real hard, right? And, so they popped up here. They're stalling at resistance, right? Look to the left, pretty simple stuff there. And so kind of it made a higher low, yesterday's rally. So it made a higher low. It's into resistance, which kind of leads to, maybe some choppy trading range. Really brings us back to, the thought from looking at the other chart that maybe just going to ping pong around here today. And just we'll get to this on Monday because we'll see what this bar looks like. But should this turn out to be a red bar closing at the low today, that would produce the thought. Right? MTS is a thought building process. That's what we call all the concepts and analysis. They're thought building processes. So deep retracement down there to the pivot, almost reached the 50. Red bar here, this kind of a pattern would suggest a measured move lower. Right? Now, one of the nuances that kind of locks that in a bit tighter, should this bar take out the high and then be a red bar down and take out the low, that's more of your classic type of setup that fails and back down again. 40, you know what? McGraw, I took a quick look and I saw some premium down at 43.05. Let me look again. That looked kind of crazy. Well, it's 30 by 45 cents. Even 43.15. I just don't imagine on options expiration it's going to be a disaster day. So, is this like a gift or, you got to wonder why, the premiums there is because market makers believe that there's risk. They saw that move down and they're jacking the premiums. And so even 43.05, 43.35, 70 by 85 cents. That's pretty nice for 0 data expiration day. But, with the 50 MA in the way, I think it's reasonable. You know how to handle it. Well, not only are they not dummies, George, they get to look at the cards, so to speak, that are coming out. And so they immediately adjust risk where they perceive it. And, so we know what happens with stocks. All of a sudden the spreads widen, so they move things along in their favor, so, I can't believe it's still that way because that's the way it was in the mid 90s on the NASDAQ with market makers. But, the evolution of our ability to be able to participate with the market makers through ECNs and all of that, changed the whole story. But maybe one day that'll come to the options market where, all of a sudden the spreads just open up and it's like, okay, yeah, I know you don't want to play. So neither do I now. So nothing happens. Well, they can see order flow. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going here before it's getting late. Qs. So getting the bottoming tail bar here, bottom of the range certainly makes sense. It's going to be some buyers here. And this, it's not the greatest pattern on the hourly, but everything's rallying here. And so we from an intraday trading point of view, we don't buy this, multiple bars up like that into resistance. No, we're going to see how it pulls back and what it does. And, maybe there is an opportunity here where, for day trading, but it's certainly doesn't appear to be a great one at the moment. Dow is up here a little bit, so the Dow and the Russell, lately tend to kind of move together. So one of the intraday strategies is, you see the NASDAQ going down, go think about buying the Dow and the Russell and vice versa. So they don't completely go in opposite directions, but there is that little bit of a correlation. All right, Bitcoin up here, just consolidating its gains at the resistance. That was at to the left. We covered that, I guess, over a week ago. Oil, coming down here, coming into this pivot area there. And this is kind of your measured move pattern, not exactly, but you see a bottoming tail and it triggers a buy and it gets caught. So this might continue to head lower down towards $60. Oil stocks are getting beat up. And gold up here a little bit. Got kind of a sell setup there. We've been talking about that. It hasn't really rolled over. Silver, more of a messy thing going on there. Interest rates back down into the bottom of the range. This can really get interesting next week. I'm telling you, if this starts to break down, I think that September scenario is going to play out, because if this starts to move lower, that yield curve is going to tighten up. And let's see if I got on this page. Yeah. No, it's not the one I'm looking for. Here. You see how as it was coming down, and it's dropped like that over the last couple of days. It's the difference between very short-term interest rates differences and this little thing down here. I'm not going to get into explaining this, but it's breaking lower. This is not good. So we'll see. We'll see. Interest rates, you want to keep an eye on that. I think today, I think all of that will be kept in check with options expiration. And the last thing I want to look at is the transports, because we always look at them. And they were shaping up nicely, and back down to the bottom of the range. Christmas tree, red, green, red, green. So we've had a little correction here. Things are neutral. Don't get chopped up today. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy 0DTE day. So although we're neutral, as I do every morning, watching pre-market markets here, spiders, we had a bearish gap down into yesterday's range. Diamonds was even worse. Look at that, gapping under yesterday's low, setting up that 1, 2, 3 that Greg mentioned. But then I'm assuming it was the Dallas Fed President Kaplan talking, because he was on talking, and then this thing just kept going up. And now we've turned positive. Everything is, the market still is just totally crackhead on this tapering situation. So we're going to be hearing ad nausea about the Jackson Hole meeting next week now. That's what, in Afghanistan, Biden's going to be talking at 1 o'clock, I heard on that. But, so we got all that foreign policy mess. But from the financial markets, I think it's all Jackson Hole next week, and the interest rates, as Greg's talking about. All right, let's a couple things here. Let's see, I gave this list. There's a short put spread watch. Let's look at a couple on TCOM here. Broke out yesterday, bottoming pattern, up a little bit pre-market, but that that has room on the daily and weekly, so I like that. Tesla, CNBC is just totally excited about this dancing robot that Tesla's talking about. And I don't know if that's why it's up today. Who the heck knows? But this is a zero just because of today's gap. Otherwise, yesterday's bar was ugly to Wednesday's bar. But if this is a bullish gap up and a bullish retracement, so 10-minute high, I like that as a put spread. Mara and Riot, sloppy. And this, remember our retracement MT live on Wednesday? So this one's greater than 50%, but it's making the turn at the 20 on minor support. It came down ugly, but it's a watch along with Riot, a coin. So there's three Bitcoin stocks that are in our normal watch list. AMAT had earnings. It's making the turn here on support. I like the pre-market gap down and sideways. Now it's breaking out. So that's a put spread watch. Deer looks great. Well, see, it kept rallying here. Rallied another $3 from since when I posted it. But 364, this is a buy setup. We talked about this into the close yesterday. It's 100% retracement from here to here, but you had a wide range bar, small bottoming tail on support on 50, and you got a price void. So see, 364 would have been a nice gap, 50% into the real body with a void. And now I got to be a little bit more patient because now it's 367 and change. Beaky had earnings, put spread watch. FL had earnings greater than 100% retracement. Now see, this is a nice potent reversal bar. Gap down, engulfing, 200, rising volume. But now the gap's too big. It's gapping way the heck up here. Bumble we're watching as a put spread. It's sloppy, but it's signs of a bottom here. Set an alarm. I'm going to set an alarm at 51. And that's that resistance on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's set AMT from yesterday. A bear sandwich. This looks good, maybe as a directional and put spread. Let's see, Bravo Juliet was on our watch list all day yesterday. And it trades kind of chaotically intraday, but the daily, weekly look good. Netflix gapping down, actually. But as long as it stays in the upper third of this big old wide range of nighting, that's a put spread idea still. OPCH was on our list yesterday. Still worth watching. Roku, we have a couple put spreads expiring today. Roku, this was one we did not have a stop. So we were in intelligent hope mode, same with MA, same with Square. SMH, we have 30-minute low, and that's again retracements. So from here to here, that's 80%. So that puts this prior trend into question. But all that means is I'm not expecting a new high. Doesn't mean I don't have a tradable event. So let's keep an eye on some semis too. And NVIDIA's one of our usual suspects. Wow, big old long tails up and down yesterday. Pepsi is on our list from yesterday. Big engulfing bar. Goldman Sachs, it's right at 50%, and we're just waiting for the turn. And that's not happening yet, which is fine. Oh, Wolf here. Wolf got an upgrade, a little gap breakout, price void. So I have that in this middle window. Right, Mara, Tesla, we talked about all these. AMAT, Myrna. I read in the journal, and I don't know if that's why it's down today, I'm assuming, but they said that there's some increasing chatter about the drug causing some heart problems or something like that. I don't know. This had earnings, but it's a big mess. Rost earnings, bearish gap down. All right, so that's it's in a trading range. It's a shock pattern. We'll see what it does. Fitch looks horrible. Let's see what it does. Deer, Beaky, NCTY 1372. It came down sloppy, maybe 30-minute high. Florida, Marin, bottoming pattern 568. Let's see, Wednesday's high is 608. It's worth watching, 30-minute high. Marin, I think that's software. Juniper was on our list, but you know, these two tails, they got rejected. Good. Under yesterday's low, yeah. Neil, yeah. For day trade. Keys. Oh, you got some tails. There's Bravo Julia, Alf. It's now greater than what's 50% retracement, but that it got rejected. Macy's had an amazing day yesterday on earnings, but it's too wow, look at that volume. The daily, weekly look higher. So I like when these things get extended for them to consolidate for a couple of days, the rest. Yeah, the only problem, Cameron, I'm assuming you mean long, but here's the problem. This is what we call an end of day rally. Look at that, straight up from 2 p.m. and now it's gapping up. So the daily looks great, yes. If this were in what we call an end of day base, like TCOM, look, TCOM's an end of day base. See, it rallied and then it rested for 2 hours into the close. This will be a great 1, 2, 3 if it closes like this. So that's my only hesitancy as a day trade. That you got a high risk of retracement, in my opinion. But I'm going to put it on a window on my other computer because I like the daily a lot. See, retracement again from here to here, 50% retracement, made the turn. Yeah, TCOM 30-minute high. I like. Maybe even 15-minute high. Let's